Hello, movie lovers, and welcome back to Apocaflix Movie News. I am your host, Jacob Bartley, and I am joined again by the regulars. You know them, you know their names. Gio Ramos, how's it going, man?
So much Marvel news this morning. What's going on?
Yeah, I love it. It's a nice change of pace for recent rumors and news that have been coming out. And Jake Berlin's with us today, too. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm glad to kind of be over the whole DC rumor mill.
I love DC.
A little too much lately.
Speaking of that, we have a lot of news topics to get into today. For those of you who don't know how this works, Gio Ramos gathers the movie news stories for us, and he runs them down for this podcast. And speaking of DC, what do we have first?
I figured we'd break the news first regarding Marvel real quick if you wanted to.
Oh, yeah,
Just
absolutely.
real quickly.
So we plan our planned topics, but before we started our podcast, a few news stories broke, and these actually have to do with Marvel Studios. So before we get to those DC topics, let's talk about these recently broke stories from Marvel Studios.
Looks like Michael Keaton is back to final negotiations for Spider-Man Homecoming. He's going to play the Vulture, and the Hollywood Reporter, right? They gave some details saying his costume could come from the Chitauri leftover technology from the Battle of New York. So I think it's a fun way, a little clever way to tie in the Spider-Man universe into the MCU further by involving the Battle of New York. But what do you guys think about Michael Keaton back in talks now?
Well, I was literally told about this about 10, 15 minutes ago as I walked in the door. Jake said, perfect timing, breaking news. And it's funny because we heard that Michael Keaton was in negotiations, and then we heard that he wasn't. And we thought that was the end of it. And we were all upset, I think, because we love Michael Keaton. We want him to be, in these movies that we could potentially love as well. So I was a little disappointed to hear that he wasn't in it. And now to hear that he's in final negotiations, that's amazing. Spider-Man is my favorite character. I said it over and over again. And to have such a great actor play the villain is something that I am very happy about. However, I was not happy to hear that Vulture was going to be in the film at all. I just think Vulture is a silly villain. I don't want a bird with feathers fighting Spider-Man. But this is the MCU. They've proven that their adaptations of their characters are more realistic. And hearing that they're going to base it on technology from the Chitauri aliens, leftover technology, that sounds amazing. That changed my whole entire mind on Vulture being the villain in this. So if they can make it more realistic, more badass, not a green guy with feathers, then I'm totally in for this. Love Michael Keaton. I love the idea of hearing this Vulture costume created from the Chitauri technology. So yes, I'm totally in. I hope it all comes to fruition for sure.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think that, having Michael Keaton play a villain like Vulture is like, okay, he's playing that kind of one-off character. We don't know how much time he's going to spend in the MCU, because if you get Michael Keaton, you need to keep him around for as long as you can, especially with these type of movies. But to hear that it could possibly tie into the whole Avengers storyline from 2012 with the invasion of New York and that kind of technology, we've seen it in the past, but to tie it in with Spider-Man is really cool.
Yeah, it's direct tie.
Yeah, and the fact that Tony Stark's going to be in the movie, he's dealt with this kind of stuff before, and the report also said that there would be another villain in it. I forget his name, but that he would basically be Vulture's right-hand man and kind of the man behind his suit. And so it sounds really cool, and it's a villain we have yet to see in the Spider-Man movies. And I think it's a villain for teenage Peter Parker, who is still, coming into his own as this character or this alter ego per se. It's a villain he can take on. And I love the idea of having Michael Keaton in there in a Marvel movie. I mean, they're casting phenomenal right now. I think we're probably going to talk about what next as well. But, Michael Keaton as a villain, I'm game. The guy's killing it right now. So,
Well, with Keaton involved now, we know this will be a Best Picture
nomination.
Right?
Yeah, Best Supporting Actor nominee.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
Well, also announced this morning, Keith Urban, the singer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Country singer.
I don't know country, but him and Jeff Goldblum are now confirmed to be in Thor Ragnarok, according to Variety and other major sources. So, what do you guys think about this casting news?
It's awesome. The Goldblum in a Marvel movie. I mean,
Finally.
can't go wrong with him. I mean, he's such a different kind of actor. You know, from Jurassic Park, Independence Day, now Independence Day Resurgence. He kind of did the Michael Keaton thing for a while. I mean, he kind of disappeared and had some smaller roles in movies, and now he's starting to pop back up. And I love seeing him pop back up because I think he's a great actor, and he's always a good time to watch. And I'm very, very interested to see what he plays. We were just talking about Ragnarok, how it might not even, set foot on Earth at any point in the film. So that'd be interesting to see what kind of characters they play. Keith Urban's definitely an interesting one, obviously, coming from a music background, not an acting background. It's funny though, because if I remember correctly, wasn't Nicole Kidman once rumored to be in Ragnarok in Cate Blanchett's role?
She?
Yes, she was.
And
Was
they're
she?
married,
Oh.
so it's kind of
I
funny.
know she was rumored she was supposed to be in Wonder Woman, but I don't remember.
Oh, it
the
may have been
Thor.
Wonder Woman.
Maybe, I don't remember the Thor casting.
But either way, I mean, it's kind of cool that her husband is now jumping on the comic book board as well.
And he's not a traditional actor.
no,
too,
but we've seen that in the past, and that we've seen musicians and even wrestlers and
wasn't he in? Who played the dad in Tomorrowland? That wasn't.
it was
Keith Urban,
that was
it?
It's Tim McGraw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay,
he was in
okay.
Friday Night Lights and
Yeah,
whatnot.
exactly.
So he's kind of
Yeah.
he's been there, but Keith Urban, yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's not going to be a huge role, so it doesn't matter. It'll be just
Yeah, see who he plays,
it'll
and
be for
I mean,
fun,
I'm interested to see who he plays. That's for sure. See him
Yeah.
along the way. So
Maybe he's Nova. Who knows?
yeah,
Okay, from Marvel to DC, because they are right now they're not really doing so well, but they are the most interesting topic in Hollywood right now. Most
controversial for
topic.
sure, and I love both, so I love talking about both.
So Warner Brothers appointed Geoff Johns and John Burke, head of DC's film adaptations. Geoff Johns was previously the chief creative officer for DC Entertainment. John Berg has been a studio executive over at Warner Brothers for quite some time. This hopefully gets the Warner Brothers DC universe back in order. What do you guys think about this shakeup?
I am not completely excited about it, but I'm happy with it because it shows confidence in Warner Brothers that they finally are putting someone in charge. That's the main point here. Regardless of who it is, they're putting someone in charge. And Geoff Johns has been responsible for producing all these TV shows on the CW and CBS. Now Supergirl's on the CW, and I love the TV shows. I think they've handled that universe very well. And I know producing movies is a totally different ballgame. I understand that. But I think he knows the comics. He knows the characters. He showed he can adapt them well to TV. So why not give him a chance in doing it in the movie world? You never know. It could end up working out. And it goes to show that they're not just letting him have all of the control. They're teaming him with an actual movie producer in John Berg. So a lot of people are complaining, Geoff Johns, he only knows comics. Why are you going to let him produce movies? But he has John Berg with him. So I think it could all work out. I like this because finally Warner Bros. Is putting someone directly in charge of this universe. And I like Zack Snyder. I've been a fan of a lot of his movies, but I did not want that person to be Zack Snyder. So I'm glad that it's Johns and Berg.
yeah, I agree. I think that they're finally kind of listening to the fans in a way and putting someone in charge of the whole universe and where it needs to go. But I think this has kind of been in the works for a while because when they did the whole DC Presents the Justice League thing, Geoff Johns is the one that was presenting everything on those videos and the panel. So he's obviously been in the system for a while. But I'm glad that it's not Zack Snyder. Obviously, you guys all know my feelings on that and whatnot. But I'm hoping it's a step in the right direction because these characters deserve justice. No pun intended. But I love that they're putting someone in charge, and I hope it goes the right way. He obviously knows what he's doing. The whole CW stuff is great. He's been involved in the comic books, which DC's been killing the comic books for years. So he knows these characters in and out. And I hope that translates to film. And, maybe he has a little say in how Justice League goes down. But if Justice League doesn't work out the way we want it to, then I look forward to the future where Geoff Johns is kind of just heading everything like a Kevin Feige as for DC. So.
All right, well, I've enjoyed what Zack Snyder has so far done in the DC universe, but it's clear that there's too much pressure on him. If you ever watch his interviews or anything, you see the man's exhausted. He's tired. You know, he was handpicked by both Christopher Nolan and David Goyer to take on Man of Steel, and I guess
which is a great film. I just like to put in that.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess Warner Brothers then decided to give him the keys to the universe, and you know, for a director, that can sometimes be overwhelming. You know,
Definitely.
You do Man of Steel, then you go. Was originally supposed to be Man of Steel 2, then turned into BVS, and then
Turned into Justice League.
And then Justice League Part 1 and 2, and then this and that. Like, it could be a lot, you know. But, you know, regardless of wherever he goes, he deserves credit. You know, he had a hand in bringing in Ben Affleck as Batman, Henry Cavill as Superman, Jason Momoa, Gal Gadot, who a lot of people were like, you know, thought she would ruin the character, but she turned out to be one of the better parts of BVS. I'm a fan of Geoff Johns, Throne of Atlantis and Justice League War. I just recently watched both those animated films, which he had a hand in the story and concept, so that was cool. And people forget, you know, Kevin Feige, he started back in 2000 as an associate producer on the first X-Men movie. He was brought in by Laura Schuler, the X-Men producer who's working today, and it was because of his knowledge of Marvel comics why he was brought in, and then he impressed Avi Arad, who's a longtime producer of the Marvel films, and then he worked his way up to becoming, you know, the head of was president of Marvel
Studios. But
today.
the difference with him, I think, is he was producing Marvel movies for a decade plus before he became president of. For around a decade before he became president of Marvel Studios.
Yeah. For about a decade, he was the second in command to Avi Arad, and this is kind of how Geoff Johns is. He's the second in command, sort of, to John Burke. So, I mean, who knows? It's a good move. Look, I'd rather see a DC universe that's thriving than one that I'm satisfied with, but is so polarizing. So, we'll see where it goes from here. I think it's in good hands. So, let's move on to the next DC news. Harley Quinn and other DC female characters are reportedly getting their own spin-off movies. Well, it's in WB's development. That's what they have a plan for this to happen. So Harley Quinn and other DC female characters, they talked about the Birds of Prey. They talked about Batgirl. But who should this happen? And which female characters would you guys like to see in the ensemble?
This is really hard to say because we have not seen Suicide Squad yet. Yeah, she looks great in the trailers, and I'm a huge fan of Margot Robbie, and of course I want to see a whole movie with her as Harley Quinn. But at the same time, I need to be realistic and take a step back and realize we haven't seen Suicide Squad yet. We don't know if she's a good character yet. So at the same time, I think DC needs to hold their horses and wait until Suicide Squad comes out, see how the reception of that character is. But maybe they're so confident in her that they're like, yes, let's put it into development right away. I kind of wish, even if they were working on this, even if they are, that we didn't hear about it. Like, wait till the movie comes out and then announce it if she's received positively. Putting that aside, yes, I would be interested in seeing a female ensemble cast in a Warner Brothers produced movie. I'm just curious how they're going to go about it, because this makes it sound like they're going to make Harley Quinn an anti-hero. And she's not really an anti-hero. She's a straight psychotic villain, and as far as the comics and the cartoon. So who knows where they're taking the character. I've heard a lot of people say this can be Warner Brothers' Deadpool movie. They can make her, and I know in the comics, Harley Quinn has a lot of fourth wall breaking as well. So I need to see the movie first before I can fully give my opinion on whether I want to see a Harley Quinn standalone movie. And I need to put my hormones aside and not just want it because I'm extremely attracted to Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. But I'm just interested. Like, what do they think? They must really like Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad. So.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing I could put money on that will be a hit success in Suicide Squad, if there's one thing that I had to put money on, it would be Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
Well, she looks great.
She does.
Her performance, I mean.
Yeah. And I do like the idea of an all-female, DC spin-off movie. We know that that's a thing in Hollywood that's kind of quickly happening. You have the Ghostbusters, you have the Ocean's 11 reboot, led by Sandra Bullock, and now possibly this. For everything that DC has gotten wrong, they're taking their female characters very seriously and aren't wasting any time in putting them out there. So I'm really looking forward to it. We'll see. I agree with you, Jacob. We'll see what happens with Suicide Squad. Fortunately, no official announcement has been made. It's just maybe in the development. So we'll see. Jake, how do you feel about this?
Quite honestly, it kind of screams of desperation to me. And this is all rumors, obviously, but I don't know if you guys have heard all the rumors that have been floating around. They're kind of scared for Suicide Squad, and that it's a little messy, and they're going back and trying to reshoot stuff and whatnot. And I don't know if it's true. Everything we've seen so far is pointing towards the movie being absolutely fantastic. There hasn't been a trailer I haven't liked. There hasn't been anything I haven't liked from it. David Ayer is a fantastic director. I like everything he does. But to put out, to announce that there's a Harley Quinn movie from Suicide Squad, 5 months before the movie's released, you don't ever see that. And you see that maybe the weekend of the movie release. They're, trying to get off the hot streak and whatnot. But so it does scream a little desperation to me. But at the same time, putting all that aside, would I like to see a Harley Quinn movie? Sure. I don't want to see her become an anti-hero like Jacob said. I think that they need to go straight psychopath with her because that's what she is. Whether or not that involves the Birds of Prey, cool. A little Batgirl, a little
Black Canary,
Huntress, all those characters, and it just depends on how they do it. And I just don't want to see a Deadpool type Harley Quinn because that's not who she is. And like Deadpool, yes, he's a little crazy and whatnot, but he has heroic qualities to him.
Exactly, yeah.
And Harley Quinn doesn't have heroic qualities. She's Joker's girlfriend for a reason. So, if it happens, it happens. And, I hope they do it the right way. But like both of you guys have said, you just kind of have to wait to see how the movie turns out and how the character is. But, I'm always down for a little bit more Margot Robbie, so it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, the second trailer for Ghostbusters has arrived. Have you guys seen the dislikes on those videos? They're
More than likes?
They're like more than triple the likes. What do you guys think of the second trailer? And why are people hating on the marketing so much? What do you guys think?
Well, so do you guys remember last year when The Night Before came out and all those trailers? Like, I couldn't laugh at all at any of those trailers. Like, I didn't have a good time.
Yeah.
This is worse. Like, this second trailer is so bad. I honestly don't know why this movie is being made anymore. And it's unfortunate because there's a lot of talent involved. And, Paul Feig, after Spy, I was really looking forward to what he did next because I really enjoyed that movie. But I couldn't get into the trailer at all. There was not one moment where I laughed. It was really quite boring to me. Which sucks because, Ghostbusters is obviously a fantastic franchise and everything. But, we've seen bad trailers before for good movies, and I hope this is the case. But as of right now, I really don't care to see this movie.
Yeah, so you guys know that I liked the first trailer. I didn't love it. I wasn't over the moon about it. It didn't blow me away. But I found myself liking about 60% of it. So a little more than I didn't like it. And a lot of people are saying that this trailer is better. I think this trailer is worse. Because even though you guys hated the first trailer, you guys pointed out things that you liked about it. You liked Kate McKinnon's character, right? And the things that she did and said. And there were certain elements you mentioned that you liked. I didn't hear you mention one thing that you liked about this trailer. I'm kind of the same way. I'm curious to see how Chris Hemsworth's role is going to play out. But what I was able to take away from this trailer is that I think the ghost is gonna possess his body and he's gonna be the villain of the movie.
Yeah, they just gave it away.
That. You know that when they
just
show him with
reminded
his
me of
hands
that.
behind his back
You
by
just-
the machine with
Yes.
all the. So once that ghost takes over his body, that ghost is going to be living through Chris Hemsworth, and Chris Hemsworth is going to be the
they just
villain
gave away
of the
the entire
movie.
movie.
They gave maybe other people don't catch that, but as I'm watching it, I'm like, really? So this trailer to me was worse than the last one, and I feel horrible for the way people are treating this female cast and Paul Feig. People need to just wait until the movie comes out and stop assuming that it's going to be horrible. We've seen horrible trailers for movies that have turned out great. It's happened before. And just because it's Ghostbusters, people are just automatically throwing it in the dirt. That's not fair. Every movie deserves to be seen before it's judged. And it's not fair but it is fair to watch a trailer and say, that does not look funny to me. I don't want to see that. I'm not interested. But I feel like most of the people hating on this are hating on it because it's Ghostbusters. If this was coming out and it wasn't Ghostbusters, it would not receive as much hate. So I think the fan community needs to calm down a little bit and just wait until the movie comes out. But whoever's cutting and putting out these trailers is not helping the cause at all. And I'm rooting for this movie. I like the cast. I like Paul Feig. And I want it to succeed. But at the same time, I'm like, they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot with making these trailers.
Yeah, I completely agree with what both of you have said. I don't know. It hasn't really, the point of a trailer is to get us excited, to get us looking forward to a movie. That's where we find out how interested or not interested we are in the film. And it didn't really do that much. I mean, Leslie Jones saying, I don't know if it's a race thing or
a woman thing.
A woman thing. I'm like, okay, that's where we're going with
self-aware.
This. Okay, so I don't know. I mean,
And you'd think after the reception of the first trailer, they would do something to try to change the way people are feeling about this movie, but they kind of made it worse.
I don't know. We'll see, guys. We're all still gonna watch it in
I'll be
theaters,
there.
Right?
I'll be there.
Okay.
For sure.
Cool. Well, one movie we will be in theaters for, Black Panther. So this dropped right after we finished the podcast from last week.
So it kind of seems like we weren't up to date with our
But
news.
Michael B. Jordan has been cast in Black Panther. How important of a role should he have? They're saying a villain. What do you guys think? How fitting is this?
So on the notes you asked, are we surprised? And I was a little surprised, even though it makes sense. Coogler, the director of Black Panther, Ryan Coogler, his 2 feature films have had Michael B. Jordan as the lead in the films, Fruitvale Station and Creed. And I just never thought about it. And you assume that, Michael B. Jordan was just in Fantastic Four. They kind of don't want to cross that, mix those pools. But I am actually, this makes sense, and I love it. And I hope it's a villain because we've never seen Michael B. Jordan play a villain or an antagonist. So I was reading up on some Black Panther characters. There's a character, I forget his name, I was supposed to remember it. There's a character who was Black Panther's best friend, and their fathers were friends, and Black Panther studied school abroad, in America in different areas, and this character's dad sent him off to study with Black Panther, and I guess the character got so jealous of T'Challa and how he was successful and he was this very smart and got the ladies and all this stuff, and he grew envious of him and started to hate him. So if they could do something like that, maybe they could base it off of that character, and I forget the character's name, but either way, Michael B. Jordan is a fantastic actor. So no matter what role it is, I hope it's not a small role. I hope it's a
one-off.
I hope it's a role where he's a villain that has depth to him and a connection to T'Challa, where he can be in all 3 of the Black Panther movies if they're going to do a trilogy. I hope he's Loki to Black Panther like what Loki is to Thor, honestly.
Yeah, great casting, just great casting. I mean, we were just saying the whole Creed cruise in Marvel Cinematic Universe now. But no, I mean, I remember when they were first talking about Black Panther being made, we had mentioned we wanted Michael B. Jordan to play Black Panther.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool that he's in the movie now, and obviously he's going to come attached to Ryan Coogler, and they're kind of becoming the whole, Scorsese and his actor, and all the little combinations, and it seems like Coogler's always going to go back to his main guy. And I haven't heard the best friend one yet, but I have heard that I guess Black Panther has an adopted brother, and that he could possibly be playing that as well. But I would also like to see him play a villain. I think it'd be really cool. We don't know whether or not Andy Serkis' villain's going to be in the movie. Hasn't really been officially announced.
It hasn't. We all assume so.
Yeah, because he was teased in Age of Ultron,
Yeah.
so obviously. But I think it'd be cool to see him play a villain. And whether or not maybe he's a good guy in this one, then he kind of turns after a jealousy, because T'Challa is now king. I mean, he is now king after Civil War, and so maybe he gets a little bit jealousy through the first movie and kind of turns through the trilogy or whatever. But I hope it's not a one-off character.
Yeah.
I hope that he's in it for a while, because it'd be a shame if that happened. And but yeah, I mean, it's never a bad thing to get talent. So.
Exactly.
I agree, and I think the character you're talking about is called White Wolf.
Yep.
The stepbrother to T'Challa. I love this casting. Are you kidding me? Michael B. Jordan, he's great. Fantastic Four, it failed to, reach his potential. This guy he can lead a film if he wanted to. But it's great to see him, take the supporting role as a villain. As far as potential characters, I mentioned White Wolf. There's also White Tiger, who is a hero from New York, or maybe even Moon Knight. Some people are saying, that could be an interesting choice.
The White Tiger that I know is a woman, but
Yeah.
but her dad, it's kind of like the Black Panther mantle. Gets passed down, so they can go with the male version, her father, and have him be an older version of that. They could do that.
Yeah. So several ways that can go. We'll see what happens, but nevertheless, it's a great casting. And how about the cast? Lupita Nyong'o, Michael B. Jordan, Chadwick Boseman,
If Andy Serkis is in it.
Andy Serkis. I'm expecting Denzel to be announced in like a couple weeks. We'll see.
Okay, so obviously I'm not going to say spoilers for Civil War, but what are the possibilities of seeing a cameo from one shield-wielding hero in the Solo movie?
Possibly. I mean, you look at a certain someone appearing in Spider-Man: Homecoming in a role.
Because the circumstances from the post-credits
I
scene,
think
I'll say that
a character that we've seen in previous Captain America films will appear in Black Panther.
Okay, I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Let's talk about something not exciting or fun or even worth mentioning. I don't even know why I put it in this movie news topic. A Tetris movie is in development. Now, we know a Tetris movie has been coming. This was reported 2014, I think. Anyways, so they're moving forward with the Tetris movie. It'll be a U.S.-China co-produced movie. $80 million budget, filmed in China by 2017 with a Chinese cast. It'll be a sci-fi thriller. Apparently, they want to do a trilogy. And what do you guys think? Tetris.
I've been waiting my whole life for a Tetris movie. No, I'm just kidding.
Makes sense.
I don't know. Like, they could take anything and make it into a movie.
They're doing emojis, which I bought into.
So I'm not going to completely disregard it, but I honestly just don't care. It should be animated if they're going to do it. Do it in the vein of the Lego movies, make it animated. But other than that, I don't care. It's cool that it's China produced and they're going to have a Chinese cast or an Asian cast. That's really cool. Is it going to be like a wide release, like a U.S. release film? I like that, but other than that, I don't care.
Yeah, when I hear of a Tetris movie, I instantly think of pixels, and it's not what I want to think of.
Me too.
So I'm just no go. I don't care. It's one thing to do like something like Angry Birds, because you can build a story around it.
Exactly.
But these are blocks that you combine together and try and fill spaces.
They're gonna do something where like someone,
yeah. I don't want any part
like
of it.
a master
I don't want any part of
Tetris
it.
builder or something like that. I don't know.
I mean, how the hell do you make this movie, though? I mean, their blocks are the spaceships, designed like blocks, and they have to connect in order to fire their big weapon or something, and you have to destroy them one by one. Like, I don't know. Shit.
See, there's no way to do it.
Fuck this movie. John Schnepp said that. I think he did. So let's go into rapid fire. Let's talk about some quick updates on some upcoming movies. Let's go through this, guys. Transformers: The Last Night officially announced. The subtitle will be The Last Night. And furthermore, Josh Duhamel returns as Lennox. Give us a reason to be excited. Give the fans a reason.
Because if the title, going solely off the title, it looks like it could focus on Optimus Prime and that storyline that we left Transformers 4 with, where he goes off to find his creators. And there's multiple versions. I was kind of searching in the Last Night stuff, and there's the creators of Cybertron, and then there's also the Last Night Warriors of Cybertron and whatnot. And but when I left Transformers 4, the poo pile that it is, but I wanted to see where Optimus Prime went, because he flew off into space. He was going after those who created him. Who knows, maybe the Dinobots are part of that, and maybe they're used to what they're supposed to be used, unlike in that movie. Obviously, we're all going to watch the trailer and be like, oh my God, they're finally doing it. They're finally making Transformers that we want to see, and it's not going to be it, but because Michael Bay's attached. But it's hard to get excited because Michael Bay's attached, but at the same time, I do like the title, and because it's not as big as Dark of the Moon or Age of Extinction or anything like that. It's a little bit smaller, which gives me hope that they're a little bit focusing on Optimus Prime's story. But at the same time, Wahlberg's in it. They have a couple new cast members, but going solely off the title, it does get me interested a little bit, because I do hope that we do get a little bit more of Optimus Prime's story. Of him going off into space and searching for those that he can just go destroy. So
I don't know as much about the Transformer lore as you do, so I don't know what the title could mean, but I've given up on these movies a long time ago, but it's cool to see Duhamel return. I like him as an actor. I wonder if Tyrese is going to return. Who knows?
Well, he's been campaigning
to return.
Yeah, he asked Michael Bay, and
I mean, why not?
Yeah,
like they were always a team together,
yeah.
Right? Yeah, so why not? I don't know. If Optimus
maybe
Prime,
we'll see Shia return.
I never actually got all the way through Transformers 4. I couldn't finish it. Yeah, I tried it on Netflix one night.
If you see the ending,
I fell asleep.
The very ending is what I'm talking about. It's the very last scene.
That sounds interesting. If that's the case, don't even make the movie on Earth at all.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
But we know who's in the movie.
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg, some 14-year-old girl from Nickelodeon
Channel,
or Disney. Like, what is that? Why do you need a 15-year-old girl starring next to Mark Wahlberg? I don't understand that. And then I like that Jared Carmichael's in it, though, because he was in Neighbors, and he's in Neighbors 2, which I recently saw.
He was in that. Okay.
Yeah, the African-American guy. He's funny. And I'm excited for him to be in the movie, but I hope it's not like who was
TJ Miller.
TJ Miller in Transformers 4, where who the hell cares about spoilers for Transformers 4, where he was actually the only watchable part of that movie, and then he dies like 20 minutes into the movie or something, or 30 minutes into the movie. So, yeah, it's going to be Earthbound, and I'm not excited, but who knows? The only thing that gives me hope is those writers and producers they brought together, but again, they brought Bay into direct, so who knows?
Well, I'm going to watch 13 Hours Benghazi this weekend, and if that's good, then I'm going to be excited for this one. Until then, whatever. Next one, speaking of Shia LaBeouf will play John McEnroe in the upcoming drama based on the rivalry between McEnroe and Borg. I don't know his first name, but it was a pretty epic tennis rivalry. I sent you guys a video of one of John McEnroe's tantrums. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I think this is perfect casting. I love it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, if you saw the Just Do It video, I think it's perfect casting with Shia. But with all the off-camera stuff that Shia goes through and all the hate he gets sometimes, he's a fantastic actor, and I think Fury is a perfect example of that. He, to many, kind of stole a movie away from the likes of Brad Pitt and Logan Lerman and Michael Pena, but he's had his moments, and I think it's a cool casting. John McEnroe, Shia LaBeouf, it's kind of cool. I'm always down for a little bit more Shia LaBeouf. I know that he's had his troubles and whatnot, but I think he's a solid actor, and I'm happy to see him getting work. So
yeah, I agree with you. I don't really care about actors and their personal lives and their off-camera debacles or whatever. I don't care about that. When I watch them in a movie, if they're talented, that's all I care about. And Shia LaBeouf is fantastic, especially in Fury. He was great. So yeah, and this seems like the perfect role. I don't know anything about John McEnroe, but I watched that little video and I could totally see Shia LaBeouf playing that role. It's almost like they knew right away who they wanted to cast for this character, and they casted him. So I think I think it's a great casting. And this is the type of role that he needs to be doing. He doesn't need to be starring in Transformers, big blockbusters. He needs to be trying to win Oscars, and I think he is talented enough to do so.
All right, last one. Daniel Craig turns down $100 million for 2 more Bond films, according to a rumor. Good news or bad news, and who's replacing him?
I love Daniel Craig as Bond, but if his heart's not in it, I don't want him near the franchise. A few of those movies are freaking masterpieces, but if he's not in it, why would you want him playing it? You could see in Spectre that he was not enjoying himself. So as far as replacing him, anyone except Idris Elba.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kind of kidding, but everyone says, I want Idris Elba to play him. Yes, Idris Elba would make a great James Bond, but he's close. He's older than Daniel Craig, right? Idris Elba?
He's like 43 or something.
I want to see a significantly younger Bond. We've never seen a younger Bond. And I don't want an origin story, but I want a young Bond. So that's the only reason I don't want Idris Elba.
I solely echo everything you said about Daniel Craig and not returning. If he's not in it, I don't want to see him in it because there's no point. As for who could replace him, I am total game for Idris Elba. I'm also total game for Nate Parker, who's in the Birth of a Nation. Okay. Or is it Birth of a Nation?
Yeah.
And then also kind of the wild card who's kind of been popping up a little bit lately, Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
I think it'd be a different kind of Bond that we haven't seen.
I would not mind that. Yeah.
I think that'd be very cool. There's so many options out there. I think Henry Cavill is going to be thrown in there because he was in there when Daniel Craig got casted, and he's a little bit younger. Even someone like Armie Hammer, I think he's huge, but I think he'd be a good Bond after the Man from U.N.C.L.E. But again, there's so many options out there because there's so many actors. So
definitely.
Y'all already know who I want. So anyways, let's go to Showdown Sunday, where I recap 2 movie-related forces, movies, directors, characters, actors, and I put them against each other. And Collider did an interesting showdown that I borrowed from. So I made it this week's Showdown Sunday. Which comic book movie is a better trilogy? Which comic book trilogy is better? You get what I'm saying. The Dark Knight versus Captain America. Who takes it? For me, it's The Dark Knight. I love Captain America. Love it. Winter Soldier, Civil War. Well, I think Civil War needs a little bit of time, but right now it's great. We'll see how it does throughout the years, if it still holds and stands up. But there's no question about it. The Dark Knight is one of the best movies ever made. I mean, you think about a pure antagonist versus a protagonist, and The Dark Knight, it doesn't get any better than that. Batman Begins, I mean, talk about that origin story. That's incredible. Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul. Christian Bale as Batman, as Bruce Wayne Batman. And The Dark Knight Rises, I wasn't too big of a fan of it, but, I mean, it's still a well-made movie. It's still a Christopher Nolan movie. Tom Hardy as Bane. He has his pros, he has his cons. But I thought it closed the trilogy well enough, and for me, it's The Dark Knight.
This is freaking so hard. It really is. But I have to go with the Captain America trilogy because I love the Dark Knight trilogy. Take all 6 films, The Dark Knight is the best film, the best movie out of all 6 of those movies. It's The Dark Knight. And I always say, if you're talking about comic book movies, yes, to me, The Avengers is the best comic book movie ever made. But if you want to take comic book out of that argument and just say better film, I might say The Dark Knight is a better film, like just a better story and better movie. So that's why I'm saying The Dark Knight is the best movie out of those 6 movies. But when you put the 3 movies against 3 movies and having a cohesive story, for me, the Dark Knight trilogy jumps too far apart in time from movie to movie for it to be a full cohesive story when you watch all those films back to back. The Captain America, even though I guess you could say the first one jumps really far in time to the second one, but it's a direct attachment. He, at the end of the first Avenger, he wakes up in New York, and then it leads straight into Avengers, which leads straight into, as far as Captain America's story, straight into Winter Soldier. So I feel like the story for Captain America, if you watch all three films back to back, is more cohesive, and it's like one long movie, where The Dark Knight is so spread apart. And yes, Batman Begins is, in my opinion, like a little bit better than the first Avenger. The Dark Knight is a little bit better than Winter Soldier, but Civil War is 10 times better than The Dark Knight Rises. So for that reason, the Captain America trilogy slightly edges out the Dark Knight trilogy.
This one's kind of easy for me. The Captain America trilogy. The Dark Knight trilogy has started everything that what comic book is today. Christopher Nolan, what he did. That's still kind of the one thing that this trilogy has going for it is all three films were directed by one person. And Captain America, they had the Russos on The Winter Soldier and Civil War. But it started out fantastic with Batman Begins. Like Gio said, the origin story is phenomenal. The Dark Knight obviously is three best comic book movies ever made. But the Captain America Winter Soldier is my all-time favorite comic book movie.
Yeah.
And what it did with Civil War is phenomenal. I love the point you made as well as jumping in time. I think that's a big thing. I think that the big thing for me is the Dark Knight trilogy doesn't hold up in its third movie, like you had said, where the Captain America trilogy does. And I know the argument can be made is like, oh, well, the Captain America trilogy has to do with a larger universe, and it has all these tie-ins, and of course there's going to be these other heroes and stories. And
I think
the
that
Dark
makes
Knight trilogy,
it harder to make the movies good.
I agree, and I think that there's so many positives. And I was reading the Collider stuff, and they made some fantastic points about the insides of the trilogy and the characters and what they stand for and what they do. And I love that there was this one line in the article that just hit home. He said that when I come out of a Captain America movie, I wanna enjoy more of Steve Rogers. I wanna watch him be a hero. Every time I watch him on screen, when I come out of a Dark Knight movie, I feel depressed because it's so dark. And it's that I don't feel as much with that as he does, but it's kind of true when you watch those movies. Those movies they're dark and they're brooding, and it's nothing against the movies because they're fantastic, but there's just, for me, there's a lot of factors as far as, the Dark Knight trilogy doesn't hold up in the very end with the third movie. Captain America Winter Soldier is my all-time favorite comic movie, and on top of other things. But yeah, I definitely go with Captain America.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up Showdown Sunday, and with that, it will wrap up Apocaflix movie news for this week. I'm your host, Jacob Bartley, and I am joined with Gio and Jake. I want to let them know where they can find you guys online. Gio?
Find me on Twitter at GioRamos24 and apocaflixmovies.com every day.
Jake?
Twitter, Instagram at Qui-Gon Jake, apocaflixmovies.com every day. Check out our Padawan podcast, the first one in a month.
We're back with the Padawan, and you can find me on Twitter at @JacobBartley_, on Instagram at Jacob Ryan Bartley, and on this Apocaflix Movies YouTube channel. Please subscribe, hit that like button, shoot us a comment. I will respond. Until next time, you all take care.